record button because of the background. Stockport County Live. Liam Dickinson looking fresh with that trim.
Little trim of limb. I was out for my work's Christmas do last weekend. I had to freshen it up. I couldn't go out looking homeless any longer.
What about them? What about them Jimmy Jammies you've got?
Tell me you love Christmas without saying you love Christmas. What are you saying?
You look like a present.
It's the longest set of jammers you'll ever see in your life,
mate. It's been a couple of weeks. How have you been?
It has, mate. It has. It's been a bit of a break for us, hasn't it? I don't think we've ever been this long. But good, yeah, good. Taking over as per, working, getting terrorised off my children. But really,
I love a bit of child terrorisation. I've been having it the same myself, but it's what we do, innit?
We just get to a point where when they walk out of the room, I just go like that behind the back.
I do it in front of them.
No, I'm too scared. I'm too scared to do it in front of them.
Listen, County, a lot to speak about at County the last couple of weeks. I actually thought about this and I dropped you guys a message, didn't I? No Matty tonight, we should say. He's a busy boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a very busy man. Very busy man.
I dropped you both a message because we had Bolton in the cup. There was loads going on. We had Sarks come on. I said, do you know what we should do? We should get Alfie back. And then we sort of missed the window, just me not getting on it quick enough. And then who do we draw out of the cup? We draw Rotherham next. So I think, right, got to do it. Absolutely got to do it. So I'm very happy to say, I know he's a good mate of yours as well, Dicko. Adam le Fondre back on the show.
Box in the box.
How do? You okay?
Here he is, the goal machine.
He is the goal machine.
I try, mate.
Before we start, mate, the reason I've not said good evening to you, you're in Australia these days. What time is it there?
Yeah, it's 7 a.m. here. So
Crikey, mate.
Morning coffee, as you do.
You got training today?
Yeah, a little bit later on. Got to be in for 9:45.
That's not too bad. That's a lie, isn't that, mate? When you're working,
no, we got to take kids to school, mate.
I'm up at 5:30 every morning for work, mate. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Last time we spoke, you were playing in India. How is it? I mean, ask a silly question. How is it? How is the difference, if you like? What's different between playing in Australia, playing in India?
Just the level's obviously a lot better in Australia than India. The quality of football is better.
The food.
Yeah, of course. The food's better for me anyway. Mate.
You got a bit thick inside of curry last time, didn't you?
Obviously the lifestyle as well. Do you know what I mean? For my family's here, which in India they weren't here. They were in England at the time. So obviously we're all here in Australia at the moment, and enjoying the lifestyle here. The weather's not been great, actually. To be fair, the weather's been more English than it has Australian here at the moment. So that's one of the downsides at the minute, which is unlike Australia.
Yeah, that's not what you sign up for when you go to Australia. One of the big things is the weather. How's the career?
Of course. That's what I thought as well. But we've been raining a lot in the last few weeks. So I think there's been a few storms and stuff like that. So
what's the lockdown situation like over there?
We're pretty much out of it. Like, obviously you've got if you test positive or a close contact and that sort of thing, then you go into isolation again. But lockdown's pretty much over in New South Wales. And that sort of thing. Obviously, I've seen over in England about Boris and his party. So
we were just gutted we didn't get an invite.
I was just about to say that, mate. I'm fuming, mate.
Fun times ahead, isn't there?
You're not wrong. Yeah, because one of my pals lives over in Melbourne, and he said they were in a lockdown for quite a long time.
Yeah, they are. Let me tell you, they've been rioting over there.
Nightmare. He said it was an absolute like best part of 2 years in lockdown, and they were in the middle of moving house, and then they had to cancel it. And he said it's just been a nightmare. But it's crazy how obviously certain areas are different rules, aren't they?
Yeah, well, obviously, I think there's about 6 different states who have different leaders, and because Australia's so big, they run pretty much like independent countries, really, where the leader controls everything in that state. And I've been quite lucky to go to a state in New South Wales where the leader's been quite forthright with COVID, and the lockdown's been minimal, really.
So last time you were on, sorry, Chris, last time you were on, we talked about how you were going to decide what the future holds for you, because you'd finished in India, you was out of contract in Australia, you wasn't sure. You said you're going to sit down with your family and obviously decide what's best for yourselves as a family. What was that in the back of your mind to be going back over there? Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, a little bit. I never really wanted to leave Australia and go to India. Sort of the current situation, the climate of COVID really changed the league in the A-League at that time, and I had no clarity on what I was going to do going forward. I've got 3 children and a wife to provide for, so I didn't have any financial clarity, and the league didn't have any clarity at that time. So, I made the decision to go to India, and it was disappointing to leave Australia. And when it became a bit more apparent at the end of that season that in India that Australia really wanted me back, and obviously Sydney really wanted me back, then it was something that sort of piqued my interest. Really, I got back to England, and I was sort of thinking, should I just stay in England now and look for a club here, or is this worth looking down this avenue? And to be fair, I was always open-minded to go back to Sydney because I loved my time there.
Are you glad you did India? Are you glad like it's something different that you can talk about in 20 years or whatever? Are you glad you did it?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me and my family, this is an unbelievable choice. The lifestyle here is incredible, and definitely going out to Australia the first time was really invigorating myself as a player, and a bit more enthusiasm for the game again after a dull period in England. So I think that really helped me, and it made my decision the second time loads easier. I think playing abroad, I probably should have done it sooner, really, and instead of doing daft loan moves, really, which I just felt like staying in England was the best thing to do, and staying in that goldfish bowl of English football, which is held up so highly, but I've seen by moving abroad that it's been better for me doing that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like they say, when you're happy off the pitch, your performance on the pitch shows. Obviously, I know just as much as you do, moving around from pillar to post, loan moves, you get bought by a club, doesn't work out, you get shipped out on loan, you come back, you get shipped out on loan again. You feel that unwanted feeling, and there's nothing worse than that for me personally. And obviously, you've gone over to Australia, and it's like you say, it's reinvigorated your career again, and kickstarted your career again, and you look like you're enjoying your football, you're scoring goals.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. For me, a lot of my problems were probably self-inflicted with the decisions I made. Obviously, I went to Cardiff, I had a bit of a bad time there, and I chose to move to Bolton and did really well there. And then probably my decisions after that to join Wolves was a bad decision. It was a bit of a hasty decision for myself as well, which probably set off a bit of a snowball effect into one. I just started being disillusioned with football in England, and like you say, moving to Australia for me, it made a lot of sense in a way, because they pretty much said to me, look, you're going to play every game. All you need to do is bring your boots. And I was like, well, I'm going to score every game anyway, so it doesn't bother me. As long as I play every game, I know I'm going to score. Yeah. And they were like, well, that's what we want. I was like, perfect, let's do it then. And then, I did score every game, but I've been vindicated in what I've done out there. I've scored a lot of goals, and not far, which is perfect for me.
It's mad, isn't it? I know. We spoke about it last time. We had a spell together. I don't know if you remember. We had a spell together at Devonshire. I had to get that in there.
Yeah.
But it's mad when you think about when you were there. You can't predict what any of those young lads are going to go on to achieve. 99.9% of them don't carry on in football. It's mad to think you go from that level, doing that to when retirement comes in 2, 5, 10, however many years you decide to keep going. When retirement comes, you played in England in the Premier League and all these other clubs, whether they were good spells or not. But then India, Australia, you've made stamps as well. Like it just, mate, I've had it with footballers, boxers, even bands speaking about starting from day one and going off to wherever. It messes my head when you think you go from there to there. It's unbelievable story.
Yeah, of course. I think that's good for me as well. Like the journey, you go on as a young kid, like you say, you start off as, I started at 5 years old, and to think, at 16 I would be looking down a lens and look at my career, coming back as a 16-year-old, I'd have been like, nah, there's no way I'm doing that. There's no way I'm getting to the Prem. There's no way I'm going out playing in India. There's no way I'm leaving, England and going to Australia. There's no way that's going to happen. But, I look back and they're some of the most enjoyable times of my career so far. So,
yeah,
it's amazing for me to look back on and look back very fondly on them as well.
Let me ask you, where would Dicko settle in better, given that you know him the way you do? Would he settle in better in India or in Australia?
Australia, mate. There's a place for Dicko here, mate. And he'd like the nightlife here as well. I know him.
I don't really. I'm not much of a big drinker, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, just water and that. I know.
So let's get back down to business. When are you thinking about signing for County?
They got to offer me something first, haven't they?
Mate, get there on the phone.
Doing well at the minute. The boys are doing well.
When I came back from India, obviously I had JJ messaging me about coming in, and I was like, I can't come in. I'm still contracted to Sydney. My loan hadn't finished at Mumbai and stuff. I said, look, if they want to offer me something for the next season, then they can be in touch, and I'll definitely think about it, because at that time I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if I was going to go back to England and stay in England with the family, or move away again. And nothing. And Stockport would have been a perfect one for me, because it would have been a nice fit-in sort of, I don't know about end, but a nice journey point for me of starting at Stockport and being part of Stockport's journey back up through the leagues, because there's no two ways about it. They're going to be successful. They're inevitable. They're like Thanos, and they're like Salford. Do you know what I mean? They're going to make the jump from conference to League Two again, 100%.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, whether it's this year, next year, or the year after, there's no two way about it. They're putting everything in place for a good club, to all the infrastructure and that sort of thing to succeed. And I see that happening very soon. And obviously, as a player, I felt I could have helped speed that up or whatever. But looking from the outside in, I can't help but think that they're going to be successful. Obviously, they've got Skipping now, haven't they, as a gaffer? So he's got a good record too.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to ask you about him in a moment. I just wanted to pick up on that. Like, I can't just let that whiz past. How serious do you think was the offer from? Not an offer. I know it's not an offer, but when the club get in contact with you, you guys know football on the inside better than I do. Is that how moves come about? And if so, could that have materialised? Do you think when you say JJ, I assume you mean James Jennings?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It was, obviously, it was just on Instagram. I think it was close to the end of the season, and so it's like March time for me. And he said, "Oh, what are you doing at the end of, you spell in India?" And I was like, "Oh, come back to England." He's like, "Oh, do you fancy Stockport?" And I was like, "Well, I do, but I can't do it. I literally can't do it, because I'm at Sydney till, I think it was end of May, June or whatever. So there's no way of me, getting out of that period of my contract. So it's impossible." I said, "I'm out of contract in the end of that season if they want to offer something for next season." But, obviously that's sort of in the air, really. They wanted something for now. And obviously, because they were at that time, they were in the playoffs, weren't they, I think?
Yeah.
Close to the playoffs. So, obviously it interested me, but nothing ever really proper, concrete materialised. So it wasn't really a sort of thing I could really, stick my hat on and say, yeah, you know what, this is a tough decision, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you mentioned Skip there, Dave Challoner. I don't know how closely you follow County under Simon Rusk. Everyone knew what Jim was about. Nobody really knew what Simon Rusk was going to bring to the table. Lovely guy, it just didn't really work out for him. Dave Challoner's in, and we're back to this familiarity. You know what he brings to the table. You're not guaranteed success, but it's favourable. What do you know of Dave Challoner? And
obviously he's been very successful. I think he had a really good period at Fylde, didn't he? And obviously at Hartlepool as well. So as a player, when I was 16, 17, breaking in, he was obviously skipper at the time, and really good towards me. Obviously, like I say, he's got the backing of the club, which without being disrespectful to the other clubs in the conference, Stockport are one of the heavyweights. And when you look at Stockport really in the conference, it's they shouldn't really be there with the fan base they've got, with the infrastructure and that sort of thing. But I think the conference is arguably one of the hardest leagues to get out of, because of you can have good clubs in there who've been trapped in there for a few years. You look at Notts County, Chesterfield, and the big clubs with their own right who've got a lot of history within the league, and you're fighting for one spot, automatic, and obviously the one playoff. And if you don't get your recruitment right, or you don't have that one game perfect on the playoff final day, then you're struggling. You're back there again for another slog. And I think Skip's got a lot of experience in managing already, and he'll have a lot of experience in navigating the team out of that league. And I think Stockport got a right chance this year for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you keep an eye on the Rotherham and the Bolton games?
Yeah, funny enough, the Bolton game, I was trying to get it on the telly here. I try and stream it here, and my father-in-law was messaging me, and he's like, "Oh, it's 3-1," and I was like, "What?" And then it was obviously, then I was like on live score or whatever. Then it's 3-3 and 5-3, and I was like, "Bloody hell, it's some game!" Like, where he said the defending weren't great for both sides apparently. So I was just like, "Oh, this is mental." And then obviously the Rotherham draw came through, and I was like, "Hey, right, Reading in the third round for sure. Whoever wins this is getting Reading." I was like, "It's my cup draw, this." And Rotherham are a really good team. Warney there has got them so hard working and drilled, and they've got one of the best strikers probably in the football league. Within the 3 leagues, that Michael Smith. So it's always going to be a tough ask for Stockport to go there and get a result as well.
It's good to go to these games and go to these teams and test yourself and see exactly whereabouts you are. It would have been fantastic for the manager to see what he's actually got, because it's all right. It's all right playing the teams in your league, but when you've got to step it up a level and you're playing against players who've got that extra bit of quality, it's always a good benchmark just to see where your players are and where your team are. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's always the good thing, and see if they can raise their game. And that's always the good thing about football, and the good thing about yourself. You always test yourself. It's always a battle for yourself as a player to raise your game. To match other people and see how far you are off, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about everything. And Challoner obviously can see the team and see what it's there for, and see where he needs improving. If and when they do make the jump.
Is there any teams that you? Sorry, Chris. Are there any teams that you've always, obviously, when you're playing against these teams, you're really looking forward to it? Is there any specific teams? Obviously, like some Man United or whatever. But is there any teams that you think, "Oh, I love playing against these," or and I know I'm confident I'm going to bag today, other than every game.
Every game in Australia.
Well, yeah. Fulham, Watford, them two. For some reason, I went through a spell where whenever I play them, I'd score 100%. Like I just knew it. I used to love playing at Craven Cottage.
Yeah.
I used to think that's like my perfect stadium. The pitch was like a carpet. It was like an old stadium.
Yeah.
Atmosphere was always nice. Never like aggressive or vociferous. I used to love playing there. I used to always think Watford and Fulham for me always I'd have a good game and score. And I think there's very few times where I didn't do that. So I'd probably say that them two teams in probably the most recent time. And then when I was in League Two, there wasn't many teams who didn't have a good game against and score against. So I had a lot of fun in League Two. So there was a lot of teams who I liked playing against.
If you come back to England, do you think League Two is what level would you look at? Would you look at League Two? Would you try and go a bit higher, or?
See, for me, it's more about the project, I guess. If someone came to me and said, "Look, I'd like to look at this or whatever," and I'm not really motivated that much by money or anything like that. I'm more bothered about winning things and achieving something. I think now at my age in your career, you obviously I've made money when I was younger and and had success off the back of that. But obviously now at this point in my career, you look at the times back when you in your career where you're happiest. It's when you've been most successful, and being away from England and winning trophies has really whetted my appetite for winning. And winning titles and that sort of thing. So I would love to come back and win promotion or that sort of thing, achieve something great. But obviously I'd like to think I could easily playing League One still at this moment in time, the way I'm feeling body wise and what I'm producing, I think on the pitch anyway. But it's all depends on the managers, doesn't it, and what they see from a player. And it's never on me saying I should play here. Sign me. It'd be the fact of where would I fit in the grand scheme of things, and how would I fit in someone's plan.
Yeah, obviously earlier on we spoke about your 120 minutes you played. Are you at a point in your career now where obviously you've got to manage your body now? As you get older, you're not a spring chicken anymore. You have to be sensible and manage it, because if you want to be a part of a project and successful, you can't play every minute of every game. So how are you managing it over there?
Yeah, to be fair, the sports scientist group here are really good, and to be fair, they look after me really well. I do play, the majority of the minutes here. My body's, held up really well, still in really good nick, and to be fair, I'd probably say I'm one of the fittest at the club here. So, that's changed from when I was a lot younger. I probably didn't take it as serious. Yeah. When I was younger, and obviously you see as the times change, you have to change as a player, and I've certainly done that. And when the games come round, I'm always ready for the games. I'm always available, and touch wood. And I'm always playing. I like to think at a high level. So I've always put myself up for playing games. But obviously with here now, I've sort of said with me getting a little bit older that training, I'd like to tailor it a little bit more towards me, and which the club have been magnificent that they do that for me. If like I say, I play 120 on Wednesday night, I've got a game on Sunday. I told them, look, don't expect much out of training from me. I need to just do as much recovery as I can, and really focus on trying to stretch and foam roll and that sort of thing. As a 21-year-old me, I'd probably been playing five-a-side, somewhere in that week, and playing in net somewhere. So as my recovery, playing cricket. Yeah, cricket on a weekend in the summer and that sort of thing. So now I know that I can't do that sort of thing. I've got to look after myself, and the club help look after me as well, setting up obviously cryo and massage and that sort of thing. And I take full advantage of that, because if I want to play as carry on playing at a high level, you have to look after your body, like you say. Cool. Football's changed so much in the last 5-10 years that you have to do that.
Just a quick one on County, Alfie, in particular. Long way to go in the season. We're not even at Christmas yet. And it looked like we were on a bit of a downward trajectory until the new gaffers come in. We're 6 points off the top now. Like I say, still way before Christmas as well. Games in hand on a lot of the teams above us. Is the title still there, do you think?
Yeah, of course. You can't, discount the title this early in the season. I think, it's normally around March time where you sort of realise your aspirations. And, obviously if the gap isn't 20 points by March, then, it's still all to play for. I think even, obviously teams like Wrexham who've spent a lot of money and, who're still a bit way out of it. And there'll be teams who will come from, a bit lower down who will be looking at higher aspirations, making a run. And the good thing about England is you play Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday, Tuesday. So if you, roll through, 4 or 5 victories, your complexion looks completely different on the league. And that's all you have to do is get on a good roll and just take it from there, really. I think for Stockport, definitely they're probably, still one of the favourites to get promoted and win the league, even being, like you say, 6 points back at this point in the season.
Do you reckon, Deco, you agree?
100%.
Cheers.
Man, a few words.
Before we go, we've got to address these jammers, mate.
You're not having them. Are you not having these?
No, I want to address them. I love them.
Look at that. Look at that.
Like H&M model.
Can't afford H&M, mate. It's metal on this.
You're on the Stella having a coffee.
Alfie, would you ever consider rocking a pair of them if you saw Liam wearing them in like a magazine or something?
100%. 100%.
Well, that's what we like to hear, mate. I've seen some of the gear Alfie used to wear in Bramhall and Cheadle. Yeah, he was Wetherspoons in Cheadle.
Hey, we had some good times,
We
me
had
and
some
you.
great
Don't be like
times.
that.
We had some great times. Straight to Opus.
Yeah, hey, you're not wrong, man.
The wonder
Don't worry
years.
about Magaluf.
I forgot about Magaluf. What about
Still
this?
got that
By the way, you still got your trophy.
Hey, don't worry. Hey, that's one of the best trophies I ever won.
So we went on a lads' holiday to Magaluf and entered a football tournament. It was like a 5-a-side, 6-a-side tournament.
Yeah, 6-side, weren't it?
Smashed it, mate.
Who else was there? Anyone we know?
Was Jamie Kay there? As well?
Damo, Biz K.
Damo, yeah, Damien Allen, Jamie Kay,
remember?
and a couple of my pals.
Yeah, a couple of your mates. We smashed them in it in the final. We're taking
yeah.
a bit.
Oh, it was great, mate.
Oh, what a night!
Just ended the season on a high. Basically, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Straight to Magaluf, won a trophy. Couldn't win a trophy at the time, but we could win a trophy in Magaluf.
Yeah. Unbelievable scenes.
But then we got promoted the year after, so that's what County need to do this pre-season. Take the lads to Magaluf, get a game over there, then they will guarantee promotion.
Isn't that like an Audi Cup tournament or something? It sounds like an extended pre-season.
It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good.
No.
It's better than an Audi Cup.
Yeah, I think was that like a Rascal AstroTurf as well.
Yeah. It's like that sandy stuff.
Yeah, it was just so random. I don't even know how it came around.
I don't even know how we turned up for it because
I don't even know why. We didn't have boots with us anyway. We had brand new holiday trainers on. I think Jamie Kay had a pair of K-Swiss on. Honestly, mate, it was so random.
Nice.
Good times.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Well, listen, lads, that sounds like a perfect way to end it. I mean, listen, Alfie, it's been a pleasure having you on.
As always.
All the way from Australia. Technology is a wonderful thing, but it sounds like you're doing the business over there. So all the best to you. And if you do get back to Stockport, even if you don't sign for us, I've got to experience one of these nights out in Cheadle at least. So
I'm too old for that now, mate. I took up golf instead of going out.
Yeah, that's old age. That we can't handle the hangover anymore.
I'm just what keeps me on the pitch, that mate, staying away from the beer.
See, I can't do it, mate. I play golf and have a beer every hole. By the 8th hole,
I take it too serious, mate.
Oh, do you?
I take it too serious.
By the 8th hole, I'm swinging and missing. 100%. Great. Well, anyway, we'll listen to it, Alfie. It's been emotional.
It's always a treat having you on.
Cheers, fellas.
All the best for the rest of the season, and 2 goals, 2 sausage rolls on Sunday, please, mate.
Yeah, I'll try, mate.
Good lad.
Just before you, is there a chance? I've just had a thought. Is there a chance of popping one of those pajama tops on under your shirt, and if you score, whipping it off?
They don't sell them out here, mate.
You know what we'll have? Do you know what we'll take? Do you know what we'll take for your celebration?
Go on then.
It's the podcast.
Yeah, right, one of those.
Okay. Podcast celebration,
I'll throw a couple of them up then. I'll throw a few shackers about.
We'll take that. But we'll be watching on Twitter.
Right.
Could you imagine the scenes on this podcast? Alfie, thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated.
Take care, mate.
Take care, guys. See you later, boys.